Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frame channel. Tomato is one of the most abundant fruits on Earth and features in hundreds of diets, ranging from the Mediterranean to Asian cuisines. Globally, around 180 million tons of fresh tomatoes are produced each year. And nearly 80% of this quantity is consumed in processed forms, such as tomato ketchup and canned tomatoes. Tomatoes today feature among the world's most processed edible items. This high demand for processed tomato products globally is met using fast-paced, state-of-the-art machinery and highly efficient processing procedures. From planting to packing, tomato processing is a finely tuned operation with labor-saving machinery used at every stage to cut production times and costs. The picking of ripe tomatoes, however, is one part of the process which is done manually by part-time workers who earn based on the quantity picked. The cultivation begins around 9 months before the tomatoes are harvested. First, the tomato seeds undergo a disinfection treatment to prevent seed-borne plant diseases. The seeds are then mechanically implanted into trays containing a mineral substrate and nutrients before being left to germinate in humid and warm conditions. After about a week, the sprouted seedlings are taken to greenhouses, where they're drop-fed fertilizers through irrigation systems for another 3 to 4 weeks. However, in some cutting-edge facilities, grafting is carried out at this stage. About a week later, these young plants are transplanted into fields to grow for approximately 2 months, depending on the season and climate. Tomatoes that are destined for processing are left to soften and ripen to a bright red color on the plant before being mechanically harvested. The fruit is sorted by color as it is harvested, with any green unripe tomatoes thrown back onto the soil by a digital camera optical sorter. When the red tomatoes arrive at the processing facility, they are unloaded and carried into the factory by a flume of water called hydraulic transport, which avoids damage to their soft skins. There are then 7 main stages in producing processed tomatoes, beginning with washing and sorting. A series of inclined rolling conveyors push the tomatoes through jets of water to remove any foreign objects such as rocks and mud before draining the dirty water away. The tomatoes are then checked for impurities such as mold or any unripe parts. Partially ripe tomatoes are also rejected in this process, as their green pigment can turn brown if used in paste. In the next step, the tomatoes are heated and chopped to create a tomato pulp. The consistency of the final product is dependent on the temperature used in this stage. The heated tomato pulp, which contains the fiber, skin, juice, and seeds, is pumped to an extraction unit, known as a finisher, where it is strained through various sieves to produce a refined juice and separate the waste product. This juice is fed to an evaporator, where it becomes increasingly concentrated as it is pumped through a series of vacuum-sealed concentric tubes at the speed of about 4 feet per second. This is done in temperatures below 100 degrees Celsius to prevent burning. The product is then pumped into an aseptic tank where it is sterilized and cooled before well-regulated nozzles fill aseptic bags with the paste. Aseptic packaging has many advantages over normal packaging. These aseptic bags are then transported to another factory, where further processing and packaging takes place to turn the tomato paste into a range of assorted products, such as ketchup. In the case of ketchup sachets, 2 layers of printed foil are sandwiched together, and a single serving of tomato ketchup is pumped inside. The sachets are then sliced up into individual packets and distributed to suppliers for marketing. However, the marketing of processed tomatoes is regularly affected by the instability of its cultivation seasons. In America, for instance, in recent years, there has been a sharp rise in the cost of tomatoes as a raw material due to fluctuations in supply caused by water shortages in certain tomato farming regions. As a result, manufacturers are now adopting a vertical integration strategy. This means some tomato-based food companies are getting involved in all stages of their production, including growing their own tomatoes from scratch. One example of this is the Morningstar Company, one of the market leaders in tomato processing based in California, who farm their own tomatoes. In the United States, Florida and California account for about 2/3 of the national fresh tomato production, while California alone accounts for roughly 95% of the country's processed tomato production. Globally, the tomato processing market reached a volume of 43.4 million tons in 2021 and is projected to reach 54.5 million tons by 2027, thereby exhibiting a CAGR of 3.8% between 2022 and 2027. China is the world's largest supplier today, growing 1/3 of the world's tomatoes, approximately 45 million tons per year. Followed by the USA, India, and Turkey. These top producers account for around 70% of the global tomato supply. That's the end of this feature on The Frame. Please subscribe to the channel and catch us on our next video. See you next time!